It's with a broken heart that I've decided I can no longer, in good conscience, and after 47 years, remain an employee of Ben & Jerry's. I am resigning from the company Ben and I started back in 1978. This is one of the hardest and most painful decisions I've ever made. This isn't because I've lost my love for the people at Ben & Jerry's. Quite the opposite. They're the soul of Ben & Jerry's. What has made their work so important to me, and what allowed the company to be more than just an ice cream company, was the independence to pursue our values, which was guaranteed when Unilever bought the company. For more than 20 years under their ownership, Ben & Jerry's stood up and spoke out in support of peace, justice, and human rights. It's profoundly disappointing to come to the conclusion that that independence, the very basis of our sale to Unilever, is gone. And it's happening at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ community. Standing up for the values of justice, equity, and our shared humanity has never been more important. And yet Ben & Jerry's has been silenced, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power. It's easy to stand up and speak out when there's nothing at stake. The real test of values is when times are challenging and you have something to lose. It was always about more than just ice cream. It was a way to spread love and invite others into the fight for equity, justice, and a better world. Coming to the conclusion that this is no longer possible at Ben & Jerry's means I can no longer remain a part of Ben & Jerry's. If I can't carry those values forward inside the company today, then I will carry them forward outside with all the love and conviction I can.
Peace, 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 and welcome to the Rematch. I am glad to be here with my good friend now. Now we're good friends.
That's right. I finally got him to stop calling me Mr. Cohen. I told him, if he keeps on calling me Mr. Cohen, I'm going to call him Mr. Thomas.
It's a sign of respect, though. You know that, but no, you've had a lot going on here in these last few months, and our audience just saw the video clip of Jerry explaining why he was going to be leaving Ben & Jerry's, and they saw the clip of you appealing to the audience as far as you had the sign and you was talking about what was going on, and how you just wanted them to let you set you free, to let you do what you. So let's break it all down. Let's talk about it.
Set it free, baby.
Yeah, let's talk about it first, because a lot of people don't understand exactly what's going on. And I saw some of the comments. I saw some people asking, well, why are you not leaving, or why is he leaving? Are y'all not cool anymore, or is there something, or what's going to be the future of Ben & Jerry's? And there's just a lot of questions. So let's start off with the actual, what is the issue and what the parent company is, and just break everything down as to how they were trying to silence you and keep you from speaking on a lot of different topics that you would like to speak on.
Sure. So what's been going on is that, Ben & Jerry's was an independent, publicly held company.
Okay.
And neither Jerry nor I wanted it to be sold, but because of SEC regulations and because Unilever offered so much more money than the stock was currently being traded at, the board had no choice but to sell the company. But since Jerry and I were so resistant, and since Unilever wanted to own the company so badly because their competitor had just bought Haagen-Dazs, so they needed a competitive product, we were able to negotiate a very unusual provision into the purchase and sales agreement. And what that provision did was that it established an independent board of directors for Ben and Jerry's. And that independent board of directors is legally responsible for the social mission of the company, the quality of the product, and how the brand is marketed. And and Unilever is responsible for operations and finance. And that arrangement worked actually better than I thought it would for a lot of years. And then in 2021, after a lot of discussion, a lot of meetings, a lot of visits, whatever, Unilever and the independent board of Ben and Jerry's and the management of Ben and Jerry's all agreed that continuing to sell our ice cream in the West Bank in Palestine was inconsistent with Ben and Jerry's values because of the way Israel was treating the Palestinians.
Okay.
And so we all agreed that Ben and Jerry would pull out of the West Bank. So we announced that, and what happened was that I think Israel didn't like that, and they put so much pressure on Unilever that Unilever unilaterally kind of reneged on that agreement and got around it by selling Ben and Jerry's, the rights to Ben and Jerry's, to an Israeli who would continue to sell the ice cream in the West Bank.
Oh, wow.
And that is what caused the board of directors, after again a bunch of negotiation with Unilever, to actually sue Unilever. A very unusual circumstance whereby this wholly owned independent subsidiary sued its parent. And then what happened was that there was an out-of-court settlement, because Unilever had usurped the rights of the independent board. The independent board had authority over where the brand could be sold, and they had authority over a decision like that to sell the rights to another entity. And there was an out-of-court settlement, and then Unilever did not abide by that settlement, and there was a whole bunch of negotiations again, and the independent board ended up suing Unilever again. So what's essentially happened since 2021 is that Unilever has been muzzling Ben and Jerry's when it tries to speak out on social issues or issues of justice. If they tried to, the slogan of the company is peace, love, and ice cream. And when the company tries to speak out in terms of a ceasefire in Gaza, the Unilever muzzles that and does not allow the company to speak out on that issue. When the company wants to support the student protesters about the slaughter in Gaza, Unilever does not allow it to do that. When it tries to speak out in favor of DEI, Unilever does not allow that. Even something as uncontroversial as Black History Month. The company wants to do a post in support of Black History Month, and Unilever won't allow it. So that's what's going on.
Interesting. Wow, a lot to unpack here. So what was their reaction when you you know, got arrested and speaking out, you know, when we interviewed you even before, did they have a reaction to you doing that? Did they say like, don't do that again? Or did they kind of come down on you?
No, they did not. I mean, Unilever recognizes that, you know, I'm not only the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's and not only an employee actually of Unilever, but that I'm, you know, I'm a person and I'm allowed to speak on my own behalf about anything I want. At least so far until Trump
yeah, right.
until he says I can't.
Right. That's the
but
whole
I'll still do
issue.
it even if he says I can't.
That's
Come
right.
visit me in Trump dungeon or wherever the hell I'll be.
So they didn't want Ben & Jerry's as a company to then, you know, have those stances or anything like that. So even when you, because from what I remember, you had like a Kaepernick ice cream or a Kaepernick brand or something like that. Did they push back on that as well?
No. I mean, yes, we have an ice cream that honors Colin Kaepernick and his courage and his kneel for justice. No, Unilever didn't say or do anything about that. I mean, I would imagine that was probably before 2021.
Right. So their main issue is Palestine. Their main issue is you speaking out specifically against the genocide that Israel is committing in Palestine. That's one of their main issues, right?
Well, I mean, that's one of them, but like I said, there's a whole range now of issues, mostly that seem to align with you know, what Trump's policies and what he's been saying.
So where does Ben & Jerry's go from here? You know, you have half of Ben & Jerry's, which is Jerry, who has stepped away. So talk to me about how that happened, and also how, you know, it will work with you staying and Jerry leaving, or what's the future holds for even that dynamic.
Sure. So, you know, Jerry and I are friends from junior high school.
Oh, wow.
That was a long time ago for us.
I go way back.
And we are still the best of friends. There's no, you know, there's no split. There's no friction between Jerry and myself. We'll, you know, we'll be getting together in a couple of days to go for a walk in the woods together.
Okay.
But you know, Jerry has a really big heart, and he has a low tolerance for conflict.
Okay.
And you know, this ongoing conflict between Ben & Jerry's and Unilever had really been tearing him apart. And you know, so it was best for him to resign. And at the same time, he's been very clear that Jerry and myself are both united in our demand for Unilever to free Ben & Jerry's. For Unilever, it's now Unilever Magnum. I mean, they're in the process of changing the name of the entity that owns Ben & Jerry's, but it's the same. And we're very united in our belief that the only way for Ben & Jerry's to be able to live out its social mission and practice you know, peace and justice, and continue to take stands that, you know, not everybody agrees with. The only way to do that would be for Ben & Jerry's to become owned by a group of socially aligned investors, a group of investors who agree with the mission of Ben & Jerry's, who want Ben & Jerry's to be Ben & Jerry's, who do not want to stifle it, who want to support the values of the company.
So is the door still open for when and if, I'll say when, Unilever does come to its senses and sells it to a entity that does appreciate your creativeness as far as willingness to speak out on different issues? Would there be room for Jerry to then come back later on and for you all to be able to, kind of unite and continue and the vision that you originally had and operated under Ben and Jerry's, for decades?
I think under an independent Ben and Jerry's, there will always be room for Jerry.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's good to hear. A lot of people, wanted to know, does that mean it's for over forever, or is there still room? But they have to be able to sell it. And this, I really have a lot of respect for the position that you all are taking and how you're strategically doing this, because there is no Ben and Jerry's without you two. So it's not like they can, push you to the side and move along with a different Ben and Jerry or a different anything like that, which I'm sure they're trying to formulate, if that is even possible, but there is none. And the amount of support that you have received, talk about that a little bit. I saw on the video clip we played earlier that you gave a website for people to call into to help, free Ben and Jerry's. Talk about how that movement has been going.
It's been amazing, how many people have offered their support, how many people have shared on social media, and how many people continue to sign up with their email addresses at freebenandjerrys.com. We've been, kind of flabbergasted at how much support there's been. I mean, we were aware that we formed a bond with our customers based on shared values, and that is a very, very strong and deep bond. And I'm just flattered and proud of how many people out there want to support Ben and Jerry's, which is really what they're saying, is they want to support true peace and justice, not just the words, but the actions.
And it's really important. So just to let you know, what you're going through right now, everybody's going through on different levels, especially in this day and age. I mean, myself personally, I was told, I can say it by Galaxy, Ed Levine told me, but that my social media had become toxic because I was talking about politics so much and it was so divisive and it wasn't marketable and all these different things. But this seems to be a theme with a lot of different places where they want you to stop talking about certain topics. It's really no longer freedom of expression, freedom of, of speech, freedom. It comes with a price. And now in this, Trump, this Trump administration, these next 3 years is going to be a long 3 years, but you're going to see a lot more of people trying to do exactly what they're doing with you to other people and say, you could talk about this, this, and this, but not this, this, and this. And so what you represent is such a bigger issue and a bigger cause. So that's why it's so easy for people to support it, because it's happening all across the country. And it's really unfortunate, but it really is.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, people are yearning for a way to stand up against Trump's attacks on, the Bill of Rights, Trump's attacks on racial justice, his attacks on freedom of speech. I mean, what my understanding is that based on his latest order that he signed, probably what we've already said here on this show would target us for investigation as to whether we are a domestic terrorists.
Right.
I mean, it's horrible to see what's going on, and that the guy is just using the tried and true authoritarian playbook and developing a police state, a group of armed military that are essentially his own military force. I mean, my understanding is that, what is it, Homeland Security or ICE or both they now have a bigger budget than the Marines.
Yep.
I mean, sending masked, unidentifiable goons onto the street to pull people off the street. I mean, we used to talk about that stuff going on in other totalitarian horrible countries, and now it's us. And I mean, we need to stand up to that kind of stuff. We need to not accept it, not allow it to be normalized. And part of that is allowing Ben and Jerry's to be Ben and Jerry's. This idea that all these businesses have just been jettisoning the commitments that they made after the murder of George Floyd, all those incredibly wonderful things that they finally said in terms of, we're going to work for racial equity, and we're going to work to diversify our workforce and our supply chain, and we're going to make loans available to people that normally got screwed out of getting loans. They all just threw it away. So as soon as Trump comes into office and says, "Oh no, I don't want you to do that," they say, "Oh, okay, I'm not going to do that." And I realized that, for companies that are not values led, for companies that do not have a social mission, if their only mission is maximizing short-term profits, and the current guy in office says, "Oh, if you say that, I'm gonna screw with you, and your sales are gonna hurt," then it's a very easy choice. I'm only here to maximize short-term profits. The current guy in office says I have to do this. You salute, you say, "Yes, sir," you do that.
But that's where the voice of the people, and really, imploring for people to continue using their voice and using their objections to this, because if Trump can push it through and everybody just takes it silently, he's going to continue to push it through. But the way that everybody reacted, especially the Black community, with Target, Target made all these promises of what they was going to do. And they made these promises. Nobody forced them to make these promises. They said that they were going to do all of this. And then immediately, like as you said, when Trump said, no, I'm going to, I want companies to roll back on DEI. I want companies to do that. They took away everything that they said and then just wanted to continue on as business as usual. So everybody's like, well, no, that's not okay. You said that you were going to do this. But that's what people have to hold companies accountable and stop using their products, because that's where they're going to feel it. Companies react to their bottom line being affected. They said all those things during 2020 with George Floyd, which you mentioned before, because it was trending. It was like part of the mainstream. They say Black Lives Matter on their Instagram. And they say, yes, what happened to George Floyd was terrible, because that's what everybody was saying. And we're going to, commit to diversity. We're going to do all this stuff, and because it was the trend. So when that trend ends, they stop doing it and they go to the next trend. And right now, the trend is, Trump and being anti-DEI and anti-woke, whatever that means, but they keep using that term, and anti-this and anti-that. And that's where the people have to continue to say, no, this is not okay. So again, what Ben and Jerry's are doing to standing up for this, it is a example for everyone that you can stand up to a company, even if it is, a company as big as Ben and Jerry's, as big as, and say, no, this is not okay. We're not going to stand for it, and we're going to fight against it. So I want to really, salute you and Jerry for, your willingness to stand up and take a stand on this and fight against it and what it really represents as a whole. I make this comparison, and whenever I make this comparison, sometimes people freak out, but it's the truth. Trump is following the Hitler Nazi playbook, and as far as he's not just starting off with concentration camps. He's starting off with controlling the media, controlling the education, rounding people up. It's slowly getting to, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. I'm in DC. We just had the National Guard just in tanks, walking the streets. You see what's going on in Chicago right now, where they just went into an apartment complex and had little kids zip tied and elderly people, little 5-year-old kids zip tied because they're allegedly looking for somebody who could be illegal. That's it. That's all you say. You're looking for somebody illegal, so you terrorize the entire apartment complex. And where we're going to be is, this is going to go down in history, and people are going to say the same thing they said about the Germans. How did y'all let that happen? Like, why didn't anybody stop it? Did y'all just go along with this? Was this just okay with y'all? And those are the questions that our great-great-grandchildren are going to be asking about our generation. And the people like Ben and Jerry's who stood against it and fought against it are going to go down in history. And then you're going to have the other people who went along with it that are going to say, okay, well, we went along with it. We fought against it too. Like, no, you did not. And we have the record here to show that you went along with it as well. But these people, so what you're doing is going to be cemented in history. So I really got to salute you for that.
Well, thanks, Etan. I got to salute you too, man. You've been standing up for justice for a long, long time, and you've been doing great stuff.
Appreciate it. All right, so what's next? What's the next steps for you in this fight?
Well, we need to keep up the pressure on Unilever Magnum to see the light, to understand that they'll actually be more profitable if they free Ben and Jerry's, and that's the plan. I mean, the idea is that we need to keep up the pressure. The entity that needs to make the decision is the board of directors of Magnum, the new Magnum ice cream company. Okay. And people need to let them know how they feel. And so we've got several actions that are in the planning stages, and the way we're going to communicate with people that want to support us is through email. And so if you can sign up on the freebenandjerrys.com website, we'll let you know what to do when the time comes.
Okay, great. And we'll make sure that we continue to put that out, and we'll put it up so everybody can see it. It's freebenandjerrys.com, right?
Yep.
freebenandjerrys.com. Okay, great. All right, thanks. Well, listen, like I said, I have a lot of respect for you and what you're doing, and any way that I could support, please continue, to let me know and amplify everything that you're doing and getting people to, but really people have to continue to fight against this and let their objections be heard. I can't say that enough. You cannot stay quiet while all of this terrible and horrible things are happening around us, because we have the younger generation that we have to think about and what they're going to inherit. We have 3 more years of Trump. So people have to understand, we have to have our boxing gloves and our dukes up to be able to know that it's going to be a fight for these next 3 years, and they have to be ready to fight.
Yep, we need to be out in the streets. I think there's the next big mass demonstration is planned for October 18th, the next big No Kings Day.
Okay.
Indivisible, the organization is doing great work, and I just encourage people to get involved with them. And you know, we're currently working, you know, through the Up in Arms campaign and with a bunch of other organizations on coming up with citizens in search of a candidate. So we want to come up with a 7 to 10 point platform that people pledge that if a candidate you know, agrees to you know, pursue those 7 to 10 points, that they're going to vote for them.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think that is great. That you know, addresses the tangibles that we heard so much that we wanted, you know, from the Democratic Party to be able to say, yes, I agree to these things, and then we support, because that's the, and I you know, it's you know, looking ahead to the next elections, we have to be able to get the right candidate, and we have to be able to wake up the Democratic Party, but they can't pacify us with inadequacy anymore.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Democratic.
That's what I can say it.
Right. So that's the idea. Citizens in search of a candidate. Yeah. CSC. Citizens Search Candidate. The CSC.
Right.
We got to do it, baby.
We got to do it. So, all right. Much respect to you. Thanks for coming on the Rematch. And like I said, I'll be continuing following you and sharing the message and everything like that. Keep doing what you're doing. We need you out here as the, you know, the symbol of resistance. And looking forward to this No Kings activation here. Say that again. You said it's on
October 18th.
October 18th. And where can people go to find more information about that?
I think if you just Google No Kings Day, it'll come up.
It'll come up. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, Ben. See, I called you Ben. Didn't call you Mr. Cohen.
Thank you, Etan.
All right. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.